If you're running a subscription-based business, cancellations can be tough. They're tough mentally, they're tough emotionally, but also from a technical standpoint, they're tough to automate. Because if you think about it, unlike a purchase or a refund where you give or remove access to a member immediately, you can't do that. Someone just canceled. And here's why. The moment they cancel, they're still members and they will remain members until the billing period ends. So you're gonna want to wait until that period before you perform any actions. In this video, I'm going to show you how to handle a cancel member automatic using Zapier. So stay tuned. If you're new to this channel, my name is Isa from Upsell.co, where we've helped over 50 companies automate more than 500,000 tasks using low-code tools like Zapier. And I started this YouTube channel to share the work we do and hopefully help some education and service-based businesses focus on what they're good at while they let automation do the rest. In this video series, I'm discussing the most common post-purchase automations you may want to set up for your subscription offer. And I'm illustrating the process using ThriveCart as the checkout system, Kajabi as the course hosting platform, Circle as the community, ClickUp as the project management system, and ActiveCampaign as the email marketing tool. Though keep in mind that the same concept can be implemented into any other platform if it integrates with Zapier or it's capable of receiving or sending webhooks. Let me share my screen and let's get into it. So here's a high-level overview of what we're going to be covering in order to be able to perform these automatic actions. We're going to have a trigger with the recurring payment cancel. Okay. And after that, we're going to have a delay. Here, interestingly enough, we can use the delayed until Zapier function. However, we can only use it if the period is going to be less than 30 days, because this particular tool doesn't allow for more than 30 days of delay. And if it's more than 30 days, what I'm going to suggest we do, you're going to see an example, is to actually add the person and the end date with Google Sheets, and with a separate Zap, we're going to every day check in on whose subscription ends today and that date's gonna run. Okay, that makes this a little complex, but it's gonna make sense once I show this. From there, we're gonna revoke access to the offer on Kajabi, remove the member from the space scripting circle, and we're going to update the contact and ActiveCampaign, where we're going to remove the member tag and add a cancel. This cancel tag will trigger an automation where you may want to send specific emails to cancel members that you may want to, for example, win back in some way, maybe send some sort of discount or offer for them to become a member again. And lastly, we're going to have here find a task by custom field on ClickUp, so we can find a tag that relates to this person, and we're going to update that task accordingly. So if there are people that need to do certain tasks for this client, they know they're canceled already. Okay, so let's go into Zapier and let's see how this is done. Okay, so we are here on my YouTube folder. I'm going to go ahead and, as usual, create a Zap, clicking on this blue button right here. And for clarity's sake, let's simply real quick name this workflow accordingly so we know what it's all about. In this case, we're going to put workflow 3 cancellations. So we're going to go ahead and find the trigger, which we already discussed is ThriveCart, and we're going to look for cancel. You can see here recurring payments cancel, that it's triggered both from a subscription and from the split pay. So this is relevant for both instances where you may have a course with the split pay or a subscription that it's like an undefined period. Here it gives us the option to specify item type, and I'm going to simply click a product. I'm going to specify a product that we're using right now as a test. Okay, we're testing product. Here you may want to specify specifically a pricing option. For example, we already discussed that the second step, the delay, is going to depend on whether it's monthly or potentially if you have a quarterly or semi-annual or annual subscription. You may want to make sure that here you only select the monthly option for the workflow we're going to build right now. Let's click on continue. Let's test this further to pull up the data that we need. And here, I want us to pay attention because there's a value that's going to be very helpful for us here. And it's called billing period. And this is the date where the billing period ends. And this is the date you want to use to delay the workflow, okay? So let's go ahead and let's assume for this specific instance that the delay, it's less than 30 days. This is some sort of monthly or maybe even a lower frequency, well, higher frequency technically, subscription, and we're gonna pick delay until. We pick delay until. Let's go ahead and simply look for billing period end date, and we're gonna select it, the one that's formatted like this. Here it's gonna ask you how should we handle if the dates are in the past, and what I would like to do is simply I'm gonna say always continue, and you're gonna see later on why. Continue, we're gonna click on test action, and we're gonna go ahead and continue the following steps. Once I finish this step, I'm gonna show you how I would do it if the delay was greater than 30 days. But let's go through the process. Kajabi. Let's add that step. We're going to be revoking access to an offer. Revoke access to an offer. We'll click on continue. We select the specific site ID, the specific offer in question that you want to remove access to. And here, as we've mentioned a few times in this video series, we're going to use the email as the external user ID of the Kajabi customer, or the student, however you want to call it. Let's skip this test and let's keep going. As I said a couple of times, Circle doesn't have a free trial that includes API integration. As a result, I've been unable to do it for illustrative purposes. I don't want to deal with my client's account for YouTube. So here you're just going to want to, similar to what we just did, select remove member from space group as the event in Circle, and you'll be easily able to remove access to people from your paid community if you have one. Then let's go ahead and put here ActiveCampaign when we're going to add the member tag. So we add the cancel tag and we remove the member tag. So we're going to go ahead, create an update contact. We're going to select the lists that's relevant. Technically, some people might want to have like a pre-existing clients or like cancel clients lists, but since we're going to use tags for that, we'll just use the clients lists. Let's pick email here and use the following tag, event canceled membership monthly. This is the event we're going to be, the tag we're going to be using. Let's click on continue and let's skip this particular step. We also want to remove the tag, and for that, we actually need to add another step because unfortunately with the creator update contact, we don't have the ability to remove the tag, but here we can. We can remove a tag from a contact. And what we're going to do is that we're going to select the contact ID that it's already available from the last step that we tested. If we show our options here, you're going to see contact ID. Select that. We're going to go ahead and click on action and click that. We want to remove the particular contact. There should be a contact here that's called membership monthly. You can see it right here. And we're going to click on continue, and it's going to skip this task. Lastly, we're going to find the task by custom field on ClickUp, and we're going to update it accordingly. In this case, we might want to label it as canceled to let people know that this person canceled. We're going to look for ClickUp. We're going to look for find task by custom fields. Click on continue. I'm going to choose my account. Continue. I'm going to select the workspace. Then I'm going to go ahead and select the space and the list that we want to use. In this case, there are no folders. I select operations. And what we're going to want to do is that as the custom fields appear, we're going to use the custom field email, which we already populated in workflow number 1. Check out the playlist in the description if you haven't checked that one out. And we're going to click on test this particular action. I'm not entirely sure if that is available, so this might fail. Oh, looks like it does exist. So it found the task that relates to this particular email. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and add another ClickUp task that's going to update that task. It's pretty common for you to need to find something and then update it whenever you want to update in the task or in contacts. Yep. Let's go ahead and we found the task. So we're going to add the ID from that step above. And what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to specify the space. Oops, that's not the one I intended to select. specify the space, specify the folder, and specify the list. And the reason we do so is because that's going to allow us to see the tags that already exist on that list. If I click here, I shall see that we created in advance the refund and the canceled tag for tasks. And in this case, since this person canceled, this is the one you're going to add. So I'm going to click on continue, skip step, and technically this workflow right now, it's done. I'm going to publish this app, but I want to go ahead and duplicate this workflow and show you what I would do if instead the delay was greater than 30 days. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna duplicate this workflow, but I'm gonna create a new one because you're gonna need two, and I'm gonna show you why right now. In the first workflow, what you're gonna have is the trigger, and you're gonna add that person to a Google Sheets. Okay, that's the first step. The second step is gonna have a schedule that on a daily basis checks on that specific spreadsheet. There's anyone whose subscription expires today, I'm gonna pick that and it's gonna repeat all the process that we did earlier. So here's how you go about that. Let's pick the subscription for 3B, cancellation, rated days. Here I will click ThriveCart just as we did earlier. But as a next step, rather than having a delay by Zapier, you're going to want to add a Google Sheets. I already created a Google Sheets as simple as it can be, email and billing date. That's all I'm going to add here. Okay. I'm going to add, I'm going to create a row, create a spreadsheet row, and I'm going to look for my personal account here. Oops. Give it just 1 second. Right, so I reconnected the account. Here I'm going to pick simply my Google Drive, and I'm going to select the spreadsheet I just created. That's called YouTube video. 30-day cancellation. The worksheet is going to be just one sheet. I'm going to select that, and you're going to see that the columns that I have here will show up. So it's going to tell email and billing. Okay, so we're going to want to add the email. And here we're going to want to add the billing period end date. However, it'd be smart, or I like to personally just keep the format as simple as possible. So I'm going to add a step in between that's going to format that time and date. So that is simply the year, the month, and the day. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to select here date and time in the formatter. And I'm going to go ahead and add select format. Date formatting. Here I'm going to add the billing period end date that has all of these other like the time and the time zone. I'm simply going to say I want a format that only has this is the one that I like, year dash month that day. I'm going to click on continue. I'm going to test that action, and now I can go ahead and add the output of this second step as the value of the second column. I'm going to click on continue. I'm going to test this action. Okay, but as you can see here, now this person is here on the spreadsheet, and I'm going to go back to the workflow we duplicated and show you what I would do in order to make sure that on that particular day, the person goes through the workflow we just created. So I'll probably call this 3A. Technically, yeah. Technically, the other one should be 3A and 3B, but that's just a little technical thing. What I'm going to do here is rather than having ThriveCart as the trigger, I'm actually going to have a schedule, which was one of the built-in tools from Zapier. I'm going to make sure that I run this every day. Okay. So let's say midnight, test trigger. Okay. So what I'm going to want to do, I'm going to remove this step. It's no longer necessary. And I'm going to add a lookup. Sorry, Google Sheets first. And then in the event, we're going to look up sheet row and output as line items. I'm going to select that account where I have the spreadsheet. What I'm going to do here is just like I did earlier, I'm going to select the spreadsheet and the worksheet. Now, here's where the magic comes. I'm going to select the column of the end date, and I'm going to put here the value that the schedule gave me. They gave me the year. Yeah, I'm probably going to want to also format this step. So let's go ahead and do that real quick, just to make sure that, both are matched. So similar to what we did earlier, we're going to set date and time. We're going to format the date. And in this case, we're going to take the date from the step above, where in the ID, they actually give us the date in a similar format to what we had earlier. But we're going to go ahead and put it in the same format that we put in the spreadsheet. Let's test that action. There we have it. And now it's where I'm going to add as the lookup value, the output of that step above. I'm going to, just for the sake of this example, I'm actually going to go ahead and add something here so that there's that date available. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and put not one, but two examples to see if it brings up both. Okay. So you can see here, it's looking up the question the Zap is asking here. It's essentially whose subscription expires today. And it's going to pull up all of the people that are there whose subscription part expires today. And then with the looping function, we can go ahead and perform these set of actions. So let's test that. And you can see here, it gave me two people. The first is the March 2016 A and the March 2016 B. So I'm going to show you real quick how I would go about finishing this workflow. There's a looping function within Zapier that you can simply create a loop from line items. The only thing you need really here, it's the email of the customer. So say customer email. And the customer email, it's coming right now from this. You can see here from column A. So what this is going to do is going to separate those values. I'm going to take it one by one, and it's going to iterate through a process that the particular step you have below this loop. Once you have this, the only thing you're going to want to do is going to go on outline. And all of these steps that we created earlier, we're going to simply move it below the loop, just like this. And as you can see now, you're going to notice that the loop, all these steps are within the loop now. So what that means is that all of these steps will happen as many times as they need to happen for each person that's on that spreadsheet. The only thing you're going to want to do from there is to remove this customer email and select instead from the step number 4, the customer email. So now the customer email is not coming from the first step as it did for the 30-day version, but instead it's coming from the loop and this particular iteration we're going through right now. If you repeat that process for all of these steps and you make sure to use that email, then you're good to go. And that would be a way of essentially having the same workflow work for subscriptions that are longer than 30 days. That said, that's a little bit more complex. I hope that wasn't super complex to understand, but I'm not going to turn these on because I'm just simply going to assume that we're working with a monthly subscription. Now what we're going to do is that we're going to go ahead and test this workflow. So let's do that. All right. So if you've been following our series, you know that there are technically 2 ways in which people can cancel the subscription, but there's a third based on how we're building this up. So 3 ways in which people someone's subscription can be canceled. Number one is that if you go into your ThriveCart dashboard and you look for the transactions of the person, you can actually click on manage and cancel their subscription yourself. That's one. The other option is that they can actually cancel it themselves. They should have received an email early on with the invoice. And if they scroll all the way down, interestingly enough, oh, the challenge is that this is the invoice of that comes from the other perspective, from the person that made the sale. So here's, let's see. Okay, so this is an example. Technically, there should be an invoice, not about the refund, but about the sale. I wasn't able to find it quickly, so bear with me because both actually have this link at the very bottom that says click here to manage your billing details. And in case you want to have a more quick way to find it, it should be your domain name, thrivecart.com/update info. And what you're going to have here is you're going to have a way for them to view their purchase history by introducing their email address. So in this case, this is one of the email address I'm testing with. If I go ahead and put that in, I'm going to receive an email that's going to allow me to see my subscription and cancel them right there. Here is the email. Click here, subscriptions, and you can see here, well, in this case, it's already refunded. Let me see. If I click on view, yep, here it is. If I click on view, you can see that I'm able to cancel the subscription as the user, as the customer. Of course, you are responsible for sharing the fact that people can do this. But actually, we're not going to use any of those two methods because if you saw our latest video, you know that when people fail to pay, we already set up an automation that when they fail to pay for the first time, we're going to tag them and encourage them to update their info. And if they, for example, fail to pay 4 times, so we make 4 attempts to charge them and we can't, we're going to assume that they're canceled and we're going to actually go ahead and automatically cancel the subscription. And we actually set this up already in our last video if you want to check that out. And what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to allow for this test that I'm doing to continue to fail on the rebuild. I had to take a bank account of mine and withdraw all the funds from it. I still have the money. And essentially, I'm going to allow for this person to continue to fail to pay. And we're going to see if the workflow we created in the last video cancels their subscription automatically and therefore triggers this other step that we just created and revoke their access accordingly. All right, so I am back the next day, and as you can see here, the cancellation workflow went through successfully. And just a reminder that, again, this can be either whether you cancel it yourself on your ThriveCart dashboard, the customer cancel it themselves, or you have other workflow where this person or you automatically cancel this person's subscription. Either way, this workflow will trigger. And as you can see here, we were able to revoke access to the offer to this person. We were able to put this tag here, event cancel. We removed their membership monthly tag because now they're not a member anymore. And we also labeled their task accordingly. So there you have it. You want to learn more about other automations for subscription businesses? We're going to keep releasing some automations related to that. So make sure to subscribe and stay tuned. And if you want to see the videos that we've already discussed, make sure to check out the playlist in the description below so you can check that out. I'll see you in the next one.